Hello, I'm Ron Mertens, CEO at Metalgrass and Editor-in-Chief at OLED-Info and MicroLED-Info. Welcome to this presentation on technical content marketing for the display industry. In this presentation, I'll talk about content marketing with a focus on the display industry. I will start with a short introduction to understand why content marketing should be an important part of your marketing strategy, and then go over the various parts of a company's content assets, the website, social media channels, and technical content items. During the lecture, I will give tips and tactics that could be quite useful, especially for display industry professionals. So what is content marketing? It is a form of marketing that uses articles, videos, and other media types to attract and engage the target audience, your customers or partners. The main idea is to provide useful content for your readers. Content marketing is not about a captured audience that is exposed to your message in banners or billboards. The goal here is for the audience to actually want to read your article or view your media. For this, we first have to create content that is desirable, and then we also have to make sure it reaches the audience, what we call dissemination. Part of the dissemination is performed by the readers themselves when they choose to share the article in social media or other venues. The main goal of content marketing is to increase brand awareness, including awareness to the services and products you offer. A good marketing campaign also enhances brand loyalty by providing valuable, informative, and attractive content, which makes readers feel more positively about you. Of course, a content marketing campaign can also generate new industry leads by reaching and engaging people that will consequently become customers or collaborators. One of the advantages of content marketing is its potential for global reach. While it is true that most display production is located in China, Taiwan, Korea, and Japan, there are hundreds of related companies such as material makers and equipment makers that are located elsewhere, and it is important to reach them all. Most display makers have also opened R&D centers in Europe and North America, and there's a constant talent flow between regions. In addition, in the future, the display industry could change. For example, micro-LED technology has the potential to fragment the industry and enable display production all over the world. This makes global exposure even more critical for display supply chain companies. All of these reasons suggest that an international marketing strategy is vital, no matter where your company is located. It is simply not wise to focus only on local customers. Let's start with your website, which is probably your most important marketing asset. A website can have many functions, but in B2B industries, like the display industry, websites usually only give a general company information, introduce the products and technologies, and contain a way to contact the company. This is usually enough, as items such as a web store or a forum are not required by most display-related companies. One of the main goals of any marketing strategy will be to drive as many visitors as possible to your website, and the right kind of visitors. So an important first step for any company should be to make sure its website is in top form, as it represents the company and it helps to form a positive impression. The first order of business should be to make sure your website infrastructure is good and that the site looks modern and professional. It should be fast and easy to use, and today it is also very important to make sure your site is responsive, which means it works well when viewed from a desktop, mobile, or tablet device. Your professionalism is crucial for your customers, and the website should reflect that. A sloppy website could make your customers think that your products or services are also sloppy. In addition, it is vital that you make sure your contact forms work. There's no easier way to lose valuable leads. This should be tested, and we'll touch on that in a minute. Also, things like typos, grammatical errors, missing text, and bad links give the user a very bad impression and should be avoided. The website language is something to consider. We would suggest that English is a must, and of course Chinese, Japanese, and Korean should also be considered. This depends on your own location and your main target base. In any case, make sure the website is aimed towards a global audience, and always keep that in mind. I mentioned testing, and I want to emphasize that. It is important to always test your website when updating it, but also periodically. Make sure that all forms and pages are accessed and tested at least once per month, There are tools that can help with that. Finally, what should you show on your website? I think that all websites should contain the basic 4 pages: about us, with as many details as possible, your physical location, the main team members, and a contact form. Unless you are in stealth mode, you probably want to expose your technology and product range. My final tip: make sure your website content is updated. When potential customers or partners come across an old and out-of-date content, it does not reflect well on your company. Make sure to update the website at least once per year and preferably more often. Oh, and your website should project the right company image. A large multinational chemical producer or a small material startup should not have the same page. One thing we strongly suggest is to start and maintain a company blog, as it offers many advantages. First, a blog provides fresh content, which has an excellent effect on your website visitors, as they quickly realize that the business is alive and operating. But remember, if the blog is not regularly updated, it is better not to have a blog at all. Think about it. If you visit a website and see that the last blog post was 2 years ago, you'll probably assume that the company is out of business. Another advantage of a blog is that it allows you to post your own technical articles and news directly on your site. In this way, you own your content, rather than have the original piece at another site or a social media profile which you do not really control. A blog is a great way to increase your ranking in search engines. This is because it contains unique and fresh content. We'll discuss search engine optimization in the next slide. Finally, a blog allows you to expose your corporate image and present its values and culture. You can post more informal articles on your team, your company atmosphere, or recollections from events and conferences. This is a nice way to help increase your team's spirit and loyalty. A nice touch is to regularly post short personal Q&A sessions or spotlights on specific employees. This also helps potential recruits understand your company culture and see if they fit in. Search engine optimization, or SEO, is the science and art of getting better positions in search engine result pages. Our short guide here will mostly target Google, but there are many other search engines, global ones and local ones, that you should consider. SEO, unlike ads, takes time and effort. It can take months before your efforts will bear fruit, but it is highly useful as it can create traffic and generate leads without a direct cost per lead. But first, a bit of history. In the old days, when the internet just started, in order to find a new site, you had to either guess its domain or arrive from a link on another site. And then came directories, human-curated lists of categorized web pages. The next evolution step was search engines. The first generation ones like Yahoo Search or Alta Vista crawled the entire web, following links to find new pages. The engine looked at the text in each site, and then, when the user entered a query, it tried to find the most relevant result. That was a difficult task, and it was rather easy to fool these engines by adding the same keyword many times, for example, or by buying a domain name with the exact keyword. And then came Google, which changed everything. The main idea behind Google was taken from how research paper citations work. Scholars count the number of citations for their article, and the more references an article has, the more important it is. Google's founders realized that this same principle can work on web pages as well. The more links a page has from other pages, the more important this web page is. Google took this information and created a complete internet graph of links. It was combined with the text and other bits of information on the page to create a search engine that was much better than any other, as it was based on web page popularity. Fast forward to today, and this is still true. Google is an excellent search engine, and links still remain one of the main ways Google ranks pages. These days, Google looks at many other research factors. For example, how quickly your website loads, image description, text, headers, domain age, social media shares, website location, user location, and more, many more. SEO experts today usually split their work between 2 modes. On-page optimization, which means all the optimization you can make on your own page, and off-page optimization, which includes everything else, such as gaining new links from other websites or social media shares. And finally, I want to mention black hat SEO. These are techniques that aim to fool Google. One simple example is buying links. Google does not like this, as it harms its usefulness, and we strongly suggest against using such techniques. At the end of the day, Google employs some of the world's smartest people, and eventually most black hat techniques are discovered, and then comes Google retribution, with lowered rankings or even the complete removal of pages from their database. Let's begin with on-page optimization, which is usually the easier part of SEO. The basic idea is that we want to build pages that have good content, that is readable to both human readers and search engines. Here are some tips and things you should consider with on-page optimization. A sitemap. This is a tool that exports all pages in your website in a format that search engines can read. On most platforms, it is easy to generate, and it helps Google crawl and understand your site and list new pages quickly. The website copy should be written in a way that answers people's questions or needs. Consider the keywords people search for and write content that targets these keywords. Don't go after the high-profile keywords. This is difficult and not wise. For example, the keyword OLED is a high-profile one with a lot of competition. Many people search for the OLED keyword every day, and it is difficult to be on the first few results. But consider that most people who search for OLED want very general information about the display technology, most likely regarding an OLED TV or smartphone they bought or recently consider buying. But if you produce equipment for the production of OLED microdisplays, for example, this traffic is not really relevant. It is better to target a keyword or a key phrase like OLED microdisplay production equipment, just an example, an easier task that will bring more relevant traffic. There are many elements in your website: text, images, headers, videos. Each of these can and should be optimized for search engines. For example, the title and alt tags of your images. The metadata. This is information that it's part of your website, but it's not really viewable to readers, only to search engines. For example, you can add title and description meta tags to your page. This helps Google present the page correctly in its results. This is highly important, both for Google to understand your page and for people to click on your listing in Google. The links on your website are extremely important. You should consider the link structure and strategy of both internal links to other pages in your site and external ones. Remember, internal links also carry significance for your pages, and this can help direct Google to the pages you want to see in higher positions. In fact, the right website hierarchy of links can be vital for SEO. Google looks at what it calls your core web vitals. Among them, you'll find your website speed and security. The faster and more secure your page is, the higher your Google ranking. And this makes sense, of course, also to your readers. Nowadays, to get high results on Google, you almost have to be mobile friendly. In fact, Google takes a look at how your website looks on a mobile device first. It is more important to Google than how it looks on a desktop. This so-called mobile-first indexing was implemented because today most people surf on smartphones and not desktop computers. Another important tactic to both Google and your readers is to study the user behavior in your site. You can use analytics software like Google Analytics, but there are others, that can help see what your users do on your site. This can help with content creation and link building. One important parameter is web page bounce rate, which is the percentage of people that leave your site after just one page. A high bounce rate is not a good sign. It is estimated that Google looks at this parameter and uses it as a ranking factor, and this makes sense. If people are not happy with your site, Google does not wish to send more traffic your way. Note that there are many other things to consider and ways to optimize your site. In this list, I believe and hope I covered the main first items of business. The main task in off-page optimization is to get more links to point to your website pages. This is one of the main search signals used today to determine the popularity of your site, the number of links, and more importantly, their quality. There are several factors that determine the link quality. The main one is the source page popularity, also referred to as authority. Sometimes a single link from a government site, a university page, or a popular site can be more effective than thousands of low-quality links. Link building is likely to be the most time-consuming task in SEO. My main advice is to create content that people will want to link to. This is called link baiting, which is actually a good thing all around. If you write compelling articles, people will want to link to them. People are also more likely to share your article in social media, which is not only good by itself, but it's also a good search ranking factor. A short summary on SEO. Search engines are getting smarter and better at combating spam and dirty tricks. In addition, getting links is harder than ever, with more and more competition. This means that your strategy for the future should be to build the best website you can, making sure it works well in mobile, and that all core web vitals such as speed and security are good. Write compelling, high-quality content, and this will encourage others to link to you as you answer their questions and help them out. Your main goal will be to increase your domain and site authority, a Google measure of how trustworthy you are. The better the website and the more links you have, the higher your authority, and the higher your site ranks in Google. And finally, another short tip, video marketing is more important than ever. People love video content and are happy to link to and share videos online. Now let's talk about social media. It might be pointless to explain why social media is important. It is everywhere and very much a part of our day-to-day life. However, I want to take a moment to stress how essential social media is today, even in a B2B industry like the display industry. Social media is how people interact today online and where they go to find news and updates. It's also a great tool for staying in touch with display professionals. In some cases, social media can enable a vibrant community, although I have to say that in the display industry specifically, this is usually not so common. For marketers, social media is a great tool for lead generation and to increase brand awareness and brand loyalty. It can also be a good venue for technical articles and content. You can treat social media as a global publication where you can share your information and promote your business. If we look specifically on social media for the global display industry, I would say that the two most important social media platforms today are LinkedIn and Twitter. I would also consider Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Reddit. And of course, there are many other platforms that are specific for certain regions. The display industry is relatively small, that's true, but social media can be a very useful tool to stay in touch with display professionals. I hope now you understand why social media is important, and having that in mind, here are some tips for getting the most out of social media in the display industry. First of all, connect with your audience. Start following industry professionals, your partners, your peers, and I think also your competition. We suggest from time to time to share some information, comment on other people's posts, and in general be present in the social media that seems relevant to your business. And again, we suggest at least Twitter and LinkedIn. Remember that in most platforms, you will have both a personal account and a business account. Our tips here relate to the business account, but it is a very good idea to maintain a personal account as well. Another good idea is to have a strategy regarding when to post and what to post. For example, you could decide to post something every other week or once per week. This is meant to help you maintain a regular social media presence. So sharing your own company newsfeed is always a good idea, and so is to post updates from your team, like new members or celebrations of things you achieved, or events, awards, and so on. We find that sharing more general industry news that relates to your company also works quite well. In this slide, I want to talk about LinkedIn, which I think is the most important business social media network. LinkedIn is a great way to stay in touch with your contacts, but more importantly, it is a very efficient way to connect with new potential customers or partners. It is also a very good tool for your technical marketing. So here are some tips. First of all, you should make sure that your company has an attractive company page that looks professional. It should also be consistent with your other visual assets. to maintain recognizability and not to confuse people. The information on your company page should always be updated. This was discussed before. A stale, out-of-date profile will make people question whether the company is even in business. It is a good idea to post company updates from time to time. If you have a blog, the easiest way is probably to share your blog posts in your company page. You should invite your contacts to follow your page. This is something that LinkedIn actually encourages and could be a good idea to increase your page popularity and the number of people that will read your updates. It is especially a good way to get a quick follower count if you have just opened your page. Remember that in social media, if your follow count is very low, it does not reflect well on your brand for new visitors. It's a good idea to follow other display industry companies, such as partner, customers, and also competitors. I can suggest to spend some time reading posts and engage with these companies. Comment on the posts you like and build your industry presence, personally and as a company. You should encourage your employees to set up profiles, connect with people within the industry, and engage on LinkedIn. It is a great way to increase your brand awareness and marketing reach. You should invest time in increasing your business development and sales network on LinkedIn. Build personal ties even without a direct sales target. In other words, be present and interact with other display professionals. And finally, an important tip is never to share content that is not business related. LinkedIn is not a good place to share political thoughts or jokes or personal information. Since a large part of the display industry is located in Asia, I wanted to discuss social media in that region specifically. While the leading social media platforms are global, if you market in Asia, you can benefit from a strategy for that region or at least some basic understanding of the situation. The Great Firewall in China blocks many global platforms, such as Google, Facebook, and Twitter. It is possible to overcome the firewall using a VPN, but generally, many services are not available from people within China. While many people in Asia use global platforms, there are many local platforms, and some of these are very popular. If there is a specific customer you want to connect to, or if you are targeting a specific country, it may be worth to learn and connect to a local network. As a bare minimum, we suggest to use WeChat and Skype as alternative messaging platforms. And in terms of promotion, stick to global platforms. You should consider a specific China strategy. Of course, you should consider whether it is worthy to translate your content to other languages, and that's according to your specific business needs. Finally, it is a smart thing to avoid making serious cultural mistakes. It is wise to take some time to get to know the customs and the culture of the people you wish to reach. For example, Japanese people sometimes view LinkedIn as more of a job-seeking tool and would prefer other platforms for professional conversations. Now I'd like to focus on technical content marketing. When discussing B2B content, it's always a good idea to provide high-quality content that is actually useful for display professionals. I would start with the distinction between mass media and display-specific publications. General audience publications play an important part of your marketing strategy, but in this lecture I will discuss in-depth or technical display-related articles only, and these kinds of articles are best suited for display-related publications. I will also not discuss the wide aspects of a technical marketing campaign strategy, but will focus on two things: content ideas and dissemination. So in this slide, let's have some content ideas. There are many types of articles you can consider, and an in-depth look into your technology, if you can share it publicly, can be of interest, as are the results from a research project you performed. Customer success stories can also be of high interest. Most companies would refrain from giving out customer names or details on their technology, and this is exactly why, if you can be more transparent, it is an advantage and people may find such content interesting. Interviews or Q&As are also very popular. You can also consider a collaborative content campaign. Write an article together with another company, which could be your customer or partner, and this can double your reach, as your content partner will help with the promotion of the article within its customers and own contacts. Some companies host online webinars or online lectures. This could focus on your own solution, but preferably it will also include information on some general industry issue that will attract visitors. In fact, if you can provide information or solutions for common problems within our industry, it could lead to great content ideas. For example, a measurement equipment company could provide an article or a lecture on common display defects and how to mitigate them. A webinar has the advantage that your listeners can participate and ask questions. Another nice tip is to listen to your customers and contacts. A customer reach out to you with the question or a problem, that's great. This could be a basis for a new article or a content piece. If you have data to back it, designing an infographic can be a good idea. This usually requires the help of a good graphic designer, but these content items sometimes perform very well. And finally, I always should suggest to consider video content. This can be a storyboard video or some other type of video. These tend to be rather expensive, although there are internet tools today that can help turn images and texts into appealing videos very quickly and at a very low cost. As a general rule, when creating content, you should think about your target audience. What interests them? What problem could you solve for them? People naturally tend to read and take interest in content that helps them. So focusing on what you can do for these readers can be a great strategy, better than just talking about your own achievements or products. So now your new article is ready. It is time to expose it to as many people as possible and to encourage them to read it. The first location the content should be placed in is in your own website or your blog if you have one. Next, you should share your post on social media. Hopefully you are already a social media expert and you know how to engage your readers, how to target specific hashtags and direct mentions of other accounts to maximize exposure. You should try to reach out to industry-specific magazines or even bloggers. Display publications such as Display Daily or our very own OLED-Info can be a natural fit, but if you also mention other technologies or niches in your article, there can be more venues. For example, if your article relates to LEDs, there are LED-specific publications, or if it involves optics, there are publications focused on that. Another good option could be to reach out to local or national media. Local area publications are interested in local businesses, and so are national publications sometimes. So as we're getting ready to close, here's a short summary of everything we learned today in 6 simple steps. Step 1 is to understand your company. What is your culture and vision? What is the brand image you want to project? This does not have to be an overly complicated process. You can start simple. Are you a small startup that wants to be seen as an agile, high-tech company? Or is the quality of your products or services more important? This can help a lot in the next steps. The second step is to make sure your website is good enough. It should be clear, attractive, useful, updated, and mobile-friendly. The third step, go over the content on your website and promotional materials like your brochures, for example, and make sure the look and feel and the content reflects your brand image from step 1. Step 4, establish and maintain active social media channels and perhaps also a blog. Step 5, create good content pieces and related media that provide useful content to your audience, to display industry professionals. And finally, make sure that you reach as many people as possible using your own blog and social media, and also external venues such as magazines or industry blogs. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. And now I turn to talk a little bit about us. Metalgrass Ltd. was published in 2004 and incorporated in 2017. We publish knowledge hubs focused on emerging technologies. Our internet portals are mostly dealing with display technologies and nanomaterials. For the display industry, we focus on OLEDs, microLEDs, quantum dots, and e-paper displays. Metalgrass offers a wide range of services to the industry: market reports, display brokerage, consultation, and marketing assistance. If you need help with any of the tasks we identified today, from establishing a website to creating and running your technical marketing campaigns or strategic content marketing support, we'll be happy to help. We offer a unique combination of content marketing expertise with over 17 years of experience in the display industry. We run some of the world's leading display publications. Our OLED, microLED, e-paper, and quantum dots publications offer a unique, popular, and affordable path to reach the entire display industry. We can offer a wide range of marketing options: banners, articles, logos, email blasts, and more. These tools can assist in your brand awareness campaigns and also be used to generate real display industry leads. You are welcome to run your articles and banners on our publications, or alternatively, we can provide a full service in which we'll write, publish, and disseminate your content. And before we say goodbye, I also want to introduce our leading OLED and microLED handbooks. These books offer comprehensive guides to these next-generation display technologies with a focus on the industry and the market. I truly believe our books provide excellent value and the best way to quickly become an expert on the OLED and microLED display industries. Thank you for listening to this lecture, and I hope it helped. For any questions, feel free to contact me directly. My mail is ron@metalgrass.com, and you can find out more about us at metalgrass.com. Thank you, and have a great day.